am with one of the dudes from Dudes of Kung Fu, Sean Madigan. He is one of the hosts of one of my absolutely new favorite podcasts, because if you've listened to my podcast at all, you know one thing, and that is I love to geek out about martial arts. I love talking about martial arts. I don't think there's a podcast that goes by where I don't relate some type of health aspect to martial arts. And so I invited Sean on the show because as I was listening to his program, I heard that he had lost 100 pounds. And I've always kind of wanted to do a specifically, martial arts training, weight loss, fitness kind of a program. So, Sean, thank you so much for being on the air.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure. This is
Awesome.
thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your martial arts background first, and then we'll go into some of the discussion on health and martial arts and then into your personal journey. So just give us a brief background on Sean Madigan.
Sure. I'm a 51-year-old fat guy from New York. I'm married, have a couple of sons, 18 and one that's about to turn 21. And, just a typical middle-class, hardworking guy living in New York. I been doing martial arts, well, I'm going to say my whole life, since I'm a kid. But as an adult, seriously as an adult, probably about 25 years ago, I started doing JKD and Wing Chun, taking it a little bit serious. And then I eventually crossed paths with a man named Steve Golden, who was one of Bruce Lee's original students in the LA Chinatown School. And he kind of like adopted me as a student. And Steve has a heavy Wing Chun background as well as JKD. So I trained with Steve for a while, and in fact, I'm still his student 20-odd years later. And now here in New York, I teach Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do, and everything that kind of comes along with it. I'm still a student in Wing Chun. When I say a student, I'm an instructor in Wing Chun, but I still study with my Sifu, Tom Kagan. And in Jeet Kune Do, I still study with my Sifu, Steve Golden. So I'm still very much a student and an instructor.
That's awesome. And I have an extensive Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do background myself, and that's part of the reason why I listened to this show and I was connecting with it so much. But one of the things that I connected with the most is you've lost 100 pounds, and I've lost about 100 pounds. I was about 100 pounds heavier than I am now, and that's kind of what got me into the whole fitness and training. And I also, I kind of grew up doing martial arts. And there was a lot of health benefits to doing martial arts. I can't say that I got skinny doing martial arts, but I did, I was able to be flexible. There were just some health benefits in general. And I'm sure if I asked like 100 different instructors, I would probably get 100 different answers to, like what are some health benefits of martial arts. But I'm going to pose the question to you, Steve. If someone were to ask you, they were to come into your studio and they say, what, I want to do martial arts. I want to learn how to kick ass, but I want to do it for health too. What are some health benefits of martial arts? How would you respond?
Okay, so I think there's the obvious cardiovascular improvements and strength improvements, and I look at health as a multi-pillared. There's like the 4 pillars of health. You need to have balance, you need to have flexibility, you need to have cardiovascular endurance, and you need to have muscular strength and endurance. And I think martial arts helps in all 4. But if someone came to me and said, I want to train martial arts to lose weight, I would talk to them and try and change their mindset. Because to me, martial arts is a healthy activity that you do that will help you stay healthy. It will help you lose weight in need be, but it shouldn't be the primary focus of losing weight. So to me, it's the same thing as if you said, I want to play softball, I want to play hockey, I want to play martial arts, I want to play soccer. These are activities that you do but just by doing them, keep you healthy. But you need to have the idea of losing weight and getting fit needs to be your primary focus in a separate area. I look at MMA fighters as the model when it comes to to fitness, because they don't look at their boxing training, their jits training, their wrestling training as what's keeping them in shape. No, they have their boxing training, their jiu-jitsu training, their wrestling.
Right.
They focus on those because they need those to be top flight. And then they do separate training for fitness. They're flipping tires and doing the battle ropes, and they're running, and there's the physical fitness aspect of the training, and then there's the activity which happens to be healthy. And I look at martial arts as that. It's an incredibly healthy activity that will help you reach your goals, but it can't be the purpose for doing it to lose weight. If you want to take martial arts at all serious, because you need to, in my mind, if you're going to do martial arts properly, if you're going to learn Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, or any martial art, you have to go all in. And you have to, your function there while you're there in your training, you owe it to your instructor and to the other guys and girls training in that school to be all in for the purpose of that school. And if the purpose of that school is to properly learn Wing Chun or boxing or Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling, you need to be all in. There will be health benefits to it, but that can't be your primary focus. Your primary focus has to be the reason you're there. You want to get in shape, you want to be healthy, well then you know what? Go out, flip tires, do squats, lift weights, run, get on a treadmill. Do what you need to do to be in shape. Let the martial arts be something you can do because of that.
So what I think I hear you saying is that it's a step in the right direction, but it can't be the only thing that somebody does in order to get healthy or lose weight. There's health benefits of it, but you might not necessarily get to your goal weight. One of the reasons why I bring it up is because I kind of grew up as a chunky kid, but I grew up doing martial arts. And even though I was overweight, and then eventually I became a fat adult. I wasn't a chunky kid anymore. I became a fat adult.
I know what that's like.
But I could do some amazing stuff as a fat guy. I could hold my foot out there on a side kick. I could jump pretty high. The system that I got my black belt in was a Korean style, and so they had a lot of jump kicks, and people were actually surprised how I could get my fat butt off the ground.
Good for you.
Yeah, but
fat people. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. But people are surprised when fat people are agile. I have quick feet. I'm agile on my feet. I can move, and people are shocked. I'm just saying, I understand where you're coming from with that. I agree.
No, yeah, and I do get that where people were surprised. They were like, "Whoa, I didn't know how fast you could be, or how well you could actually throw parries, or how well you could kick," because I was, carrying a lot around my midsection. So, no, I totally identify with that. But there's a big craze right now with martial arts and losing weight. It seems to be part of, and maybe we can just, dispel some of this, because it seems to be part of every weight loss program out there, whether it's P90X or whether it's Get Fit Now or
it
whatever. It
started with the Taibo. Remember, that was the Billy Blanks with the Taibo. That was and now every school has a cardio kickboxing class or something to that effect, which is awesome. Go ahead and have fun. But if that's your main focus, and the main focus of that class is a cardio kickboxing, then that's fine. But if the main focus of the class is martial arts, well, then you have to worry about your form. And when I say form, I don't mean the kata. I mean your form. You have to make sure your hands are up when you're throwing your punches. You can't be just up there wildly being rock'em sock'em robots, because then you're not helping your partner. So that's why if the main focus of a class, like a cardio kickboxing class or something to that effect, is just to lose weight, who cares about form and style and finesse, then rock on, have a good time. But if a regular martial arts class, your mind got to be on the martial arts.
Yeah, and there's a difference too. I think you'd probably agree with me with particularly somebody who's been training martial arts their whole life, and then they finally say, you know what, I want to get in shape. Their body is used to martial arts.
Right.
They kind of need to shift into something else. when somebody doesn't know martial arts and they come in and they just say, well, I'm looking for some healthy exercise, and they've been a couch potato, it's like, well, let's start anywhere.
Right, sure, right,
Let's
exactly right.
let's
I
do
agree.
martial arts. But when somebody actually already knows martial arts, their body is used to it. And this kind of came home to me one time because I knew this guy years ago, and he wasn't like a terribly out of shape guy, but he wasn't like perfectly fit either. And
Right.
the guy used to do these 80-mile bike rides. I mean,
Wow.
he rode his bike everywhere, and I was just like, well, why is he still chunky? I'm like, well, it's because he's used to that kind of workout.
Right,
He's
right,
used
right.
to it. And when
That's
you
true.
grow up,
Yeah, look at
when you
construction
grow,
workers. You see these construction workers, they're probably burning through 5,000 calories a day, just like working a jackhammer and things to that effect, and shoveling, and they almost all of them have this big belly and everything.
right, right.
So their
So
bodies are used to
let's,
it.
oh yeah, and like if you did that and you hadn't done that before, it would probably kill you,
Right.
and you would probably actually get some health benefit out of it too, because you're not used to it. You're used to
Sure.
something else. But one of the things that geek out on this for me for a little bit, because I know you have a wrestling background too.
Sure.
But one of the things I noticed is that the strength endurance from one type of martial arts and its related cousins to another type of martial arts can sometimes help. So, for example, doing Wing Chun, doing JKD will have some overlap, but it's significantly different than, say, rolling all night,
Oh,
on a
absolutely.
mat.
I agree. Right. I think the body finds a functional, comfortable way of burning the energies that it needs to burn. And when the body gets used to, say, like being a stand-up boxer, and the body knows, okay, I can burn calories this way to make sure that I can breathe throughout my whole boxing sessions, and I'm used to it, and I can go round after round after round. Throw a gi on them, put them on their back, and put them into a jiu-jitsu class, and they're winded after rolling. It's. I think it also comes down to the whole sprinter versus marathon runner. There's different ways
Yeah.
the body burns energy, and with martial arts, it gets very specific. And a boxer burns energy differently than, say, a wrestler. And I can say from being a wrestler, a long time ago, wrestling to me was the most physical sport that I've ever been involved in. I played
Yeah.
football, I played a lot of things, and wrestling was it. Wrestling was where it was at when it came to physical fitness, and it doesn't translate to other sports the way. May help a little bit with another martial art, but it doesn't say, okay, if you have the energy for wrestling, now you have the energy for boxing. Completely different way
Right.
of burning energy. Completely different way of burning energy. Right?
And would you? Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, totally. I totally agree. And jujitsu's kind of been, unfortunately, one of the last components to my personal training. I wish I would have gotten into it a lot earlier, but hey, I'm finally doing it. So I'm
Cool.
finally getting around to getting my ground game rounded out at a school here. Actually, I don't know if you've ever. I'm going to geek out a little bit off
Yeah,
the
no
topic,
worries.
but I just wanted to ask you if you ever heard of Walt Bayless Jiu-Jitsu.
Sure, absolutely. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Oh, that's legit, man. Yeah, no, that's absolutely legit. Walt Bayless is a real deal.
Right on, right on. Good, because we have a Walt Bayless black belt here, and
Oh,
so
awesome.
I went in there. We have a Gracie black belt here as well too, and I studied with him for a little while. But then I went into, but then his school closed down, and there's another guy in town who was doing just mixed martial arts, and so I went into his school, and he was doing martial arts no gi. And I was like, what's this? Is this like 10th Planet or something? And then they started throwing around the name. No, this is actually Walt Bayless Jiu-Jitsu. So I was
Oh,
like, oh,
cool.
okay. Well, I've never
So
never
it's
heard
more,
it. So
and so more than like jujitsu, it's more like submission grappling, right? I know it's the when schools focus on no gi, they tend to use the term submission grappling more than Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Where the Brazilian jiu-jitsu has that focus on the gi and the belts and things to that effect. I mean, I think
right.
it's both is awesome. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Well, what I discovered in that was that rolling was much more energy output than sparring,
Right.
or just or even stand up fighting full contact with gloves on. So I mean, it was just one of those things that kind of kicked on my metabolism again, because as you lose weight, you kind of hit plateaus,
Oh,
and you
absolutely.
kind of got to do something to kick yourself off that plateau by either doing a different exercise or something, because you're, like we said, your body gets used to it. And I just remember going, oh, holy smokes, man, I was not prepared for the amount of energy that was going to be put out for rolling. So
Oh, absolutely. I had a jiu-jitsu instructor say to me one time, "What does it feel like to burn energy when you're rolling? Picture you're laying on the floor and you're wrapping your legs and your arms around a log, and you're just squeezing as much as you can, and how tired your whole body would become instantaneously." That's jiu-jitsu. Even though you don't spend
yeah,
energy that same way, it's kind of like the analogy works. It's like the whole body becomes tired.
and trying to lift that log at the
Right,
same time.
exactly right. Well, it's trying to choke you.
It's amazing. So let's get into your story a little
Sure.
bit, about how you lost 100 pounds. Now, did you grow up overweight or
Uh,
chunky at all, or was this adult
yeah.
onset kind of
No,
overweight?
I've been fighting the battle of the fat battle my whole life. When I'm going to say 10 years ago, it got really bad. I was always a
Mm.
little overweight. I would lose weight, I would gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. When I was in high school, I was on the wrestling team and the football team for a little while. So, I was in pretty good shape and I was pretty, pretty feeling good about myself. But as an adult, you get married and my wife can cook good, so and I like to eat. So I'm not gonna lie, I like to eat, and so at some point you just keep on gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight, and not that you sit there and make some sort of physical or conscious decision, oh the hell with it, I'm gonna just give up. But somewhere along the line, you just say, "Oh, the hell with it," and you eat another slice of pizza, and you sit on the couch and you watch TV instead of going to the gym, and you just explode. And that's what happened with me. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And about almost literally exactly 1 year ago today, I went on a cruise with my family, and it was like my high point as far as weight goes.
Hmm.
And when I say high point with weight, that correlates with low point in activity. So, well, it's the truth. The heavier you are, the less you do. And we were on the cruise, and I was in pain all the time, uncomfortable all the time, winded all the time, and unfortunately for my family, cranky all the time, because I was just, should be having the vacation of my life, and all I could do was bitch about, you know, this hurt and that hurt, and my back hurt, and my knees hurt, and my feet. It was bad. It was just a really bad scene, and my family deserved better. So while we were on the cruise, I had made this decision. A decision and a declaration that when I came home, I was going to have gastric bypass surgery.
Oh, okay.
And I said to my wife, I eventually did not have it. I
Okay.
didn't have it, but I said I was going to. And I was like, no, this is it. I'm going to do this when I'm on once we get back, I'm like, I'm getting this done. And my wife was like, really? You sure? And I'm like, if they could do it here on the cruise, get me a knife and do it right now. Like, I'm doing this. So when we came home, I looked into there's a local hospital here that specializes in it. And, you go for a couple of classes, and everything was approved and everything was going well. It was moving along. I was talking to their doctors and things to that effect. And then I got a phone call saying your insurance company turned it down.
No.
And I was
Were you?
devastated.
Yeah, I was gonna just ask, were you devastated?
Yeah, I was devastated. I was livid and devastated at the same time. I was pissed. And, it was a punch in the gut, because to me, it was like this was going to be the thing that changed my life. So I didn't give up. I ended up speaking to a nutritionist finding a nutritionist that I liked and hired her. And she came to my house once a month for a lot, for many months. And she helped set me up with a diet plan, a meal plan I should call it, and helped me understand that I didn't need to eat less food, I just need to eat better food. And for the first time in my life, or first time as an adult, I started eating vegetables and, I'm not going to lie. To me, pizza was a vegetable, it had tomatoes, But
it's amazing. It's amazing the stories we tell ourselves,
right?
Right,
The rationalizations we make in our head, it's like, so, I went from like 2 or 3 dinners a day to 1. And, so I started eating healthier, and my wife was incredibly supportive, and she really bust her rear end to help me. And then I was working out at home, doing some basic weightlifting and some basic cardio with my wife, and it wasn't getting it done. So I decided to hire a personal trainer, and I have to tell you, it was really exactly what I needed. It was the personal trainer. He set the program. I work out with him twice a week, and wow, I mean, I can't tell you the impact it's had on my life. It's phenomenal. It's changed how I do everything, and when we have time, I'd like to go through actually what the training's like for any of your listeners that want to lose weight, that want to get in shape. I'm telling you, it's awesome.
Well, let's we're definitely going to cover that. I kind of wanted to identify with you a little bit on the where you were at, because I mean I feel like I've had close to the same journey. I basically got to a point where like I said, I could do some pretty good and amazing things as a fat guy, but there came a point where the problems with my health kind of started to outweigh all the pleasure of, I mean, I was having heartburn every night. I was having all kinds of other digestive problems all the time.
Absolutely.
And finally you get to a point where you just say enough's enough.
Right.
And something clicks in your brain, because you've been on diet programs before, right?
My whole life. And you're right. There's a mindset shift and it's all about the mindset. I mean, I've heard that for years, but it's not until it actually clicks in your head that you get it. It becomes it has to become your focus in life. It has to be what you think about and talk about 24/7. My wife and I talk about losing weight and getting you fit and all the things I'm going to be able to do when I lose even more weight, because I still have more weight to lose. It has to be your focus, and that's part of the whole mind shift, like you say.
Right. So I guess what I was going to ask is, what makes this in your mind, in your life? How is this different than the other? How is this not another, just an attempt? Here we go again. Sean's attempting to try to lose weight again, and I'm sure you got a lot of that from your family as well. From like relatives and stuff.
Absolutely, friends and family was kind of like, well, don't give up this time, or good luck with that, or we've heard that before, and I don't know, I would be lying if I said I knew the magic button. I can tell you that I just got angry enough. Mm-hmm. I just got angry enough and said, "Not this. I'm changing this time, and I'm going to do things that I've been wanting to do for years and haven't been able to do." I still am very overweight, but I was extremely overweight. And for me, it changed so much of my life to the point where, like, I'm looking at you, I can see you, and, you tell me you were 100 pounds heavier, and I freaking respect how much weight you lost. But I can tell at 100 pounds heavier, your life, you could probably still do things. Me, like, I love hockey. I absolutely love the hockey. I love the hockey. Listen to me. I love hockey. I'm a huge fan of the New York Rangers, and I'm a rabid fan of the Rangers. And I'm lucky with the job I have. I could get tickets to Madison Square Garden to see the Rangers a few times a year. just as gifts. And
Cool.
it got to the point, though, where I no longer fit in the seats at Madison Square Garden. It's just too wide.
Yeah.
So it affects things in your life. It stops you from enjoying your life.
Yeah.
I'm a Brooklyn kid. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, but I love country music. And I want to go to Nashville.
Uh-huh.
But for me to get on a plane right now and then walk around Nashville and things, my weight prevents me from doing stuff like that. So I'm just, I'm not letting that happen anymore. And I just got mad.
That is awesome, and whatever it is for you, for different people, it's different things. But what ends up happening is that you end up valuing health more than you value what it was that was keeping you overweight, whether it was the food, whether it was, just being lazy, or, a combination. There's a reason why, we were all overweight. And you're right, even at 100 pounds heavier than I am right now, I was never in the position of not being able to fit into a seat or something like that. I
Right.
wasn't. I mean, people can see my before and after pictures on the. I mean, I was not a thin guy. I was out of shape. For me, a lot of it was the health problems I was having. I mean, I was just like, I was noticing a drastic decline in my health, and I thought, man, are my best years behind me? Is it just old and
Right.
grow? And I was about 39 ish. I was about ready to turn 40 and having that midlife crisis kind of thing, and looking at
Sure.
my life and going, you know what? I do not want the second half of my life to be like the first half, or to be worse. So yeah, it's different for everybody. You say, oh, I just got mad. I just got upset and at all the things you couldn't do. And that's
Right.
got to be, your reason, because everybody's got to have their own reason. It's like getting off of drugs or something like that. That's a big struggle right there, because people who get off drugs, they can stay away from those drugs forever.
Right.
You don't ever
Absolutely
have to
great
do
point.
cocaine,
Right.
but
Absolutely great point.
you
I
have
agree.
to eat. You
Right. You
have
have
to
to eat.
eat.
You don't have to do a little bit of cocaine every day, but you have to eat a little bit of food every day. No,
Right.
that's a fantastic point. I agree 100%.
Would
And
you? Sorry, let me ask you this question. Would you have called yourself kind of a food addict?
oh, absolutely. Oh no, it's a family thing. For my dad, it was booze. For me, it's French fries and pizza. You know,
Mm.
and how you can tell the difference is from just being a little bit overweight and a little bit, oh, he likes pizza too much, to being, I'm never going to say was, but am completely obsessed with food. You know, if I woke up and couldn't have what I want, I didn't get disappointed, I got angry. And if if the pizza didn't come out perfect, I got angry. It became this obsession with with food. And like I said, for my dad it was booze, and for me it's food. It's a family thing. It just and like I said, I have two sons, and I don't want to pass this on to them. It's
That's
it's
another big
absolutely,
motivation right there.
and like I said, between my wife and my two boys, who thankfully, thank God, are healthy and doing well, I kind of feel like life is not fair for them a little bit. My wife is too young to have a husband that needed the help that I needed every day with things. Simple things. Tying shoes became a chore. Just every little thing becomes a chore when you get tremendously overweight. I couldn't help but carry in the packages, things like that. And each day now, I can do a little bit more, and I'm feeling so much better. I'm going to say 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I volunteered to go to the store. My wife was like shocked, like, "Oh, you're going to go to the store?" Because I didn't go to the stores. I haven't been inside a store. I haven't been in a
Right.
grocery store in years. And now I kind of do. I'm kind of stepping out a little bit. I started going for guitar lessons. This is something I would have never done. Leave the house if I didn't have to. Are you kidding me? And now I leave the house to go for guitar lessons.
Right.
It's changing my life.
Right, right. And now let's move. I kind of want to hit on a couple things you
Sure.
mentioned, the workout and the nutrition plan itself. I wanted to spend some time in the mind area because that's kind of the area I specialize in.
Okay.
I'm a certified practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, and
Okay.
I know that it's like we know what's the right thing to do. The problem is finding the motivation to do it.
Right.
So you've got to be able to focus your mind, and that's what NLP is about, is being able to focus your mind to be able to achieve your goals, whether it's weight loss or stop smoking or whatever it is. But then there's also the actual practical aspect to it too. So let's talk a little bit about that. How do your meals differ now, than the way they did? How did you put together this nutrition program? What does Sean Madigan eat during the day now, as opposed to what you used to eat?
Well, I'll go through a little bit of what I used to eat on a daily basis, and then I'll tell you what a typical day is for me now. I would get up, and on the way to work, stop off and get maybe 6 or 7 McDonald's hash browns, and go, obviously to drive to. God forbid I should get out of the car. And
Right.
I would eat, 6 or 7 McDonald's hash browns, and I would get to work. When I got to work, I would buy like a couple of corn muffins. And in my job, I'm fortunate enough that we have a full-blown cafeteria that they cook us whatever we want for free. I work for a Wall Street firm. So, and that would open up like around 10:30 in the morning, and I could get anything I want, basically. I could eat I would go for lunch and I would eat French fries and just whatever crap whatever I was in the mood for, and a lot of French fries, I'm not going to lie. Then on the way home, I would almost always stop off at McDonald's again and have my pre-dinner. I would buy like 2 large fries and eat them on the way home. And then of course lie to my wife when I came home and tell her I didn't, but it's the truth. It was what I was doing, But she's not stupid.
And
She
you
saw me
probably had
gaining.
no problem. You
Right.
probably had no problem with 2 meals.
Right. Oh, are you kidding me? Right. So then I would come home and then I would eat a big meal for dinner. And then crap after that, and there's no other way of describing it other than crap. Really buttery popcorn, potato chips, just all sorts of various crap. That's just not how I eat now. A typical day for me now is I get up in the morning and I have an orange before I leave the house. When I get to work, I have a banana and a protein shake. Then a little while later, I'll usually eat some grapes as like a snack. For lunch, I have steamed broccoli with 3 ounces of like a protein and maybe a half a cup or a quarter of a cup. I'm not sure. My wife measures it out for me every day. So I actually don't even know if it's a quarter of a cup or a half a cup of brown rice. And then I'll eat like an apple on the way home. And maybe like I buy this stuff called Skinny Pop. It's like popcorn without anything on it. But it's actually kind of tasty. And I'll have like a small bag of that. And for dinner, I eat a pretty hearty dinner. Like I'll have 5 ounces of a protein, barbecued hamburger, or a piece of steak, or whatever. I'm not a big chicken eater. With vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, string beans, and maybe like I'll eat like a boiled red potato, with no butter or salt or anything to that effect. And then as a snack, I'll have again maybe a little bit of this popcorn with nothing on it, or another piece of fruit, or sugar-free Jello, or something to that effect. Sometimes I'll have like my wife buys these fudge pops that are like 100 calories, and I'll have that treat during the summer. I'll have a fudge pop or something. But I do treat myself on the weekend. I go to the diner and get myself a burger deluxe once a week, just to keep me sane.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You know.
that's an important part, you know. I mean, if somebody said, "Well, you can never ever have your favorite foods again," it'd probably be a
Oh,
diet you
right.
wouldn't be on. You
Exactly
know,
right.
you've got to be able to have either what's called a cheat meal or a cheat day. I mean, one of the diets that I did, I came from it from a little bit of a different perspective. I kind of went the low carb, high fat perspective. You know, I did the kind of a paleo-esque diet kind of a thing. But one of the diets that I did was called Carb Night. You look that up. The Carb Night's a really interesting diet to be on because you get one night a week, and it's got to be in the afternoon. And he goes through the whole reason
Right.
about how your body kind of metabolizes carbohydrates differently throughout the day. But that was a really good because I hit a plateau, and I've actually hit several, and I talk about this on my program and kind of how I actually got past them. So if you ever hit a plateau, let me know. Get in contact with me. We'll work something out because
Oh,
that's
I definitely will.
also kind of what I specialize in. So that's cool for the nutrition. Let's get into the workout because obviously you'd been, like we said before, you've been doing your martial arts, and that really was that may work from somebody who's doing nothing to
Right.
doing something, but it's not going to work from somebody who's been doing martial arts their whole life. You have to change it up a little bit. So what's typical workout for Sean Madigan? What does that look like?
Okay, so a couple nights a week, I go to my trainer, and we work off of something called the Tabata protocol. So I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if I don't know if you've spoken about that with your audience yet, but basically
go
he'll
ahead. Go ahead.
okay, so he'll take 4 exercises. Dumbbell squats with shoulder presses. So you'll squat down, come up, shoulder press. Medicine ball slams, battle ropes, and chest presses, cable presses. And what he'll do is he'll set up a circuit. So you'll work 20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. And the 10 seconds rest, I'm using air quotes, is you'll walk to the next station, right? So that's your rest. Sucking wind to the next station. So you'll do 20 seconds of, say, dumbbell squats, then walk over to the medicine ball, pick up the medicine ball, and do 20 seconds of medicine ball slams. Then walk over to the battle ropes, do 20 seconds of the battle ropes. Battle ropes are these big, long, heavy ropes.
Right.
And then walk over to the chest press machine and do 20 seconds of the chest press machine. That's one round. And we do 8 rounds.
Oh,
It's killer, dude. And so,
yeah,
and then every night he has a finisher also. So we go through that. It's like a warrior workout, right? At least that's what I've been calling it. It's not a term I came up with. I read it somewhere and I loved it, So, because you have to be like a warrior to get through it. And so after we go through the 8 rounds, sometimes if I do really good, he rewards me with the 9th round. And then he has a finisher. So what the finisher will be like...
It sounds like he really loves torturing you.
Oh my God. He has this big smile on his face. He's some big ex-New York City detective and just loves to torture me, And I'll do sit-ups with medicine ball throws. So I go back, come up, throw the ball to him, and he throws it back really quick. Like if I don't catch it, I'm going to eat it. So we'll use like a 12-pound medicine ball, and we'll play catch with that, but I'm doing sit-ups while we're playing catch. And I just do that until I have absolutely no more energy. So the whole workout, so you figure you go there, you do like a 5-minute warm-up, then you do like 16 minutes of Tabata, and then it's like 5 to 10 minutes on the finisher. So you're looking at like maybe 25 minutes to a half hour of a workout, but it's absolutely killer. And like I walk out of the gym completely drenched and completely wiped out. So that I would say is my main focus workout. And then to support that, I do cardio with my wife a couple of days a week. So we wake up early before work and we do an old style aerobic type workout. Picture Jane Fonda workout in 1985 except I don't wear the leotards, It's like, and my wife is really good at that kind of cardio aerobics. So we put on music and she takes me through a workout, and it's usually 30 minutes of cardio. And the other nights I go to the gym and I do probably standard powerlifting / bodybuilding type exercises just because that's what makes me feel good. So the other nights I go to the gym and I'll do squats and bench press and lat pull downs and typical quote unquote bodybuilder type workouts. And I try and walk, and I do some walking, and that's my workout for the week. But I'm going to say it all revolves around the Tabata. The Tabata is what's changing my life. That's killer.
Those high intensity workouts will create afterburn effect. I'm sure you know all about it. But
sure, I've looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah, when you burn that intermuscular glycogen, it takes a long time to replace it, and when you're replacing it by burning those fat cells off your body. So that high intensity workout is a killer. Yeah.
It really
I was building up a sweat just listening to you talk about it, my friend.
It's crazy, and I walk in there on Tuesday and Thursday nights, and I see him setting up, and I'm like shaking my head like, man, there's no way I'm getting through this. It's like, so like I'll see it like, so he probably has, I'm going to say, a repertoire of like 15 exercises, and he pulls from them to give me the 4 for the night. So one night it could be those 4 that I said, and the next night I get there, and it's going to be medicine ball throws up against the wall and catch, to dumbbell swings, to, lat pulls, to sprints, so side sprints. He has me kind of like stand in a wrestler stance, bend my knees, and do like side sprints to the side, touch the wall, sprint to the other side, touch the wall, go back and forth for 20 seconds, rest 10 seconds, go back, then high knees, like just standing there lifting my knees as fast and as high as possible for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. It's just to burn as many calories, I guess, as you can, just to get the intensity up that you cannot breathe for 20 seconds. It's incredible.
Right.
It's phenomenal.
Right. Well, you've mentioned this a couple times that you have a ways to go, but you've lost 100 pounds. I mean,
right.
That is phenomenal. Yeah. Very few people do that, and so I guess last question here.
Sure.
What are some health benefits that you've seen from losing this, and what are you looking forward to most in the future?
Okay. Well, health benefits is...
Or what benefits in general,
Sure. I can walk from my couch to my kitchen without feeling like I'm going to throw up. I can, wow. And that's not an exaggeration. I used to be winded walking from my couch to my kitchen. It would wipe me out. Like, my house isn't that big. So, walking from my car in the parking lot to my desk at work would kill me. And now it's a non-event. I don't think about it. It's, I just live a healthier life now. I can do things. I went to a comedy show with my son. 6 months ago, that wouldn't have happened. And I'm looking forward to doing more things like that, My son loves MMA also. I'm a big MMA fan. The UFC is finally coming to New York. I want to lose enough weight that we can go to see the UFC and it not be an issue. Hockey games. I want to play hockey. I want to try and play hockey, I want to get back into wrestling. I wrestled for a long time. I want to get back into wrestling. And these are things that I'm looking forward to doing, and then, of course, part of my midlife crisis will be a motorcycle. But my wife doesn't have to know that yet. But, I'm looking forward to all of these things, right? Exactly. I'm just looking forward to doing all of these things. And, one thing I want to mention, just as a little bit of like a thing to say to yourself, if anybody out there is struggling like I struggle every day, and especially before I started, I had a buddy of mine that said something to me, and I don't know if it was his originally or if he got it from somewhere. So if it should be attributed to somebody, feel free. I have no idea.
Right.
He said, working out sucks. Working out is hard. But so does living a life the way you're living it. So you have to choose your heart. Which hard life do you want? Do you want the hard life of going to the gym and working out and sweating and sacrificing? Or do you want the hard life of being in pain, sitting on the couch and not being able to move? You have to choose which hard you want in life. And if you let it get to the point where, like I did, that it's so bad that it's affecting your quality of life, then you have to sit down and make that choice and say, listen, I need a. It's going to be it's a hard choice because you're choosing a hard path to get in shape. And if I could offer one bit of advice, I mean, I know we're getting close to the time here, would be don't focus on the scale. Focus on getting in shape. The scale will take care of itself. Because if we focus on the scale and the scale doesn't move, you're going to get frustrated and stop. But if you focus on just getting in shape, if you can say to yourself, you know what, today I'm going to walk 3 houses down and then come back. And I'm going to do that for 2 days. And then tomorrow I'm going to move to the 5th house and back. And then a couple of days later I'm going to move to the 9th house and back. If you can track your progression in that way, in things that affect your quality of life rather than that scale, you'll be a happier person. Right. The scale will take care of itself. Eat properly and move. The scale will take care of itself. Concentrate on being healthy rather than losing weight. Don't be on a diet. Change your life.
Yeah, that's words to live by right there. You got to change your lifestyle. You have to change your lifestyle. And you know what? The more you do that, and just a little encouragement to my audience and encouragement to you, Sean, the more you start identifying as a fit person. Now, I don't know where it switched in my mind exactly, where I stopped identifying as a fat person and started identifying as a fit person, but it happened. And it was the most amazing thing, because I used to go to those workouts and I used to hate them. I mean, sweating was like, I used to joke and say sweating was like my body crying. That was literally what it was. And now like I can't picture a day not going. I hate it when I can't go to the gym. I used to dread it, and now I can't hate it. And that'll happen for anybody who just keeps the dedication in. It becomes a switch in your head that you go, oh yeah, you know what? I got to go to the gym because I'm a guy who goes to the gym.
Right,
you start to identify. Right on, man. Right on. So before we go, let people know where to find you as far as Dudes of Kung Fu are concerned. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
I appreciate that. Actually, I have 2 pages I want to mention, if it's okay.
Sure.
The first is the podcast that I do with my great friend Alex Richter. If you went to facebook.com/Dudes of Kung Fu, it's our like page, and we run a weekly podcast concentrating on Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's martial art of Jeet Kune Do, Wing Chun, and some physical fitness and things to that effect. And we keep it very lighthearted, and we have a lot of fun, but we try and give away a lot of good information. Alex, my partner in crime with the podcast, is a phenomenal martial artist who's another New York guy like me, but is married to a woman from Hong Kong. So he goes to Hong Kong a bunch of times a year, speaks fluid Cantonese and Mandarin. So he just gets so much information when he's in Hong Kong, and we share it on the podcast, and we have a lot of fun with it. And I have a like page for my weight loss transformation, and if anybody is at all interested in following along, I post on my weight loss page all the time. It's facebook.com/Big Sean Transformation. So it's BIGSEAN transformation, which even I can't spell without looking up. So
yeah, I'm not a great speller either. But you know what? Link me those in a personal message. Sure. And I will do my best. I'm still kind of new at podcasting, but I will do my best to try to put those in the show notes so people can just
appreciate that.
Look at those and put those in the show notes. So thank you for being on the show. I don't know if you ever have guests or ever planning to have guests on your show, but if you ever do, I have a great spiel about what kind of martial arts teacher you are. This is one of those spiels I go into when I talk to my students, when they talk about what kind of martial arts teacher you're going to be. So I talk about it, and I kind of relate it to learning a new language. So anyway, we can geek out about that some other time.
Absolutely, dude. We haven't. Oh, forget.
I was going to say, there's a type of person who's like, learn as little as possible, and then and then submission kind of training, or submersion kind of training. And then there's the other school of thought, which is, learn as much as possible and then immerse yourself into fighting. And I relate this to kind of learning a language, where there's different ways you can learn a language. You can spend a lot of time on vocabulary, and then finally you get to the point where you're speaking, or you can spend a little bit of time on vocabulary then actually start speaking with people.
Right.
But anyway, that's just like a real
Sure.
bad way of putting it, but I think you get
No,
the
I
idea.
absolutely
So
get it. So you're listening to the podcast. We haven't had any guests on yet, just because
Yeah.
we're still relatively new at it. We want to establish an audience, let people get to know Alex and myself. But we will absolutely be having guests on. We've already started to put together a preliminary list, and yeah, I'll definitely edge on the list, and because I think it would be a great benefit to the guys and girls that listen to our podcast. So
yeah, and I
really appreciate you having me on here. It was really nice of you.
Oh yeah, no problem. And I just love geeking out on martial arts, and I've always wanted to talk about, martial arts and health and weight loss and that kind of thing. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. All
Sounds
right,
good, brother.
thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
All right, bye-bye.